even though you had some downfalls, do you regret any of your journey?
I actually don't, and this is why. Because my daughter's 10 and she saw the process of me falling and becoming. And that makes me emotional because I know that the walk that I walked, she's actually learnt from at a young age. And so there's a full circle right there. Because where I wish, and there are parts of me that wish, oh gosh, Bessie, I wish you woke up to this so much earlier. I wish you didn't spend so much of your life trying to be that person and you knew who you were and the gold that you had within you. Now when I tell that to my daughter, she's already got it because she's marinated in my struggle.
And that's so powerful. And I think this idea of resilience, especially when it comes to finding out who you are and especially when it comes into your work life and your career, that's something that you just have to learn, and you can learn through others. And it's great that you can share that story with your daughter.
And also I'm glad for the next generation that's coming through because and I don't, really like to throw the word woke around, but we're aware because we've got so much information. There's so much information about our brains that is circulating and it's mainstream at the moment. There's so much wellness put in place in industries. But our generation, most likely your generation, a lot of people, in the past 40, 50 years more so, really marinated in a culture and in industries that were unregulated and unsupported, and all of this kind of emotional well-being stuff was just disregarded and hidden. But things have changed now for future generations because we're getting up and we're speaking about it, and there are examples in place, and there's just an eagerness to learn more about who we are as people like never before, I think. It's exciting.
I always look forward to the day that, Gen Z are the people running companies. I think the entire business landscape will be completely different because I think it will come back to what you're talking about, that so many people's careers will be aligned with their values and who they are. And there is this focus on well-being and mental health and looking after yourself.
Yeah, it's vital, Marissa, because like we know, and I just don't know how we weren't awake to it earlier, but like we know, we are holistic and it's a holistic picture. So when we do our work takes up 80% of our week, sometimes even more. It's hard to just let go of work when you finish at 5 o'clock, and in a media industry you don't finish at 5 o'clock, you don't start at 8 o'clock, and PR's the same. A lot of performance and entertainment, it's just around the clock because it's relationship building and it's having to show up. But essentially it's needed, it's absolutely needed that we are able to have a whole picture in place when we go and live our lives, because our work takes up so much capacity in our life. It affects our children, it affects our finances. We have to be able to do everything in a holistic way where we're doing it and enjoying it.
I agree. I always say that if you hate your job, you hate your life.
100%.
But then in the same vein, I don't think if you love your job, you love your life, because that's not the whole picture.
No.
But it is such a huge part of it.
It goes on to affect our life. We have to be aware of ripple effects. And so what do we do when we have a bad day? Because life has an ebb and flow to it. So when we do have a bad day, what are we doing in order to help our mind, to help our heart posture, to help us physically? We know that there's a huge link between emotional baggage and then what's happening physically in our body. We know that there's a huge link between how we feel about other people and if that creates toxic emotions and chemicals inside of our body. Yes, it does. We can't just think that we're not human doings, we're human beings, right? So we have to really nurture that being side. It doesn't matter what industry you're in, whether it is in a legal firm, whether it is in PR, whether it is in entertainment. The being has to come first, and then from there, everything flows out.